For Info Live TV, I'm today with Yoni ben Menachem for Call Israel. Yoni, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Olivier.
Today in the morning, Israeli could read in the newspaper that there is a very high probability of war with Syria. I will just show Mariv newspapers to all the viewers. In Hebrew it is הסבירות למלחמה עם סוריה עלתה. The probability of the war with Syria is very high.
Yes.
Increasing, yes.
What happened is that after the war in Lebanon, we started hearing new voices from Syria. Voices coming from the president of Syria, Bashar Assad. Syria was encouraged by the results of the war in Lebanon, by the fact that they think that the Hezbollah was very successful in fighting Israel, and they think that Israel is weak now. The military intelligence of Israel army, what we call Aman, the Bureau of Intelligence, had until the war in Lebanon an estimation that the probability of war with Syria is very low. Now, after the war, after we heard new declarations from the Syrian president, also taking into consideration the possibility of using violence to return the Golan Heights to Syria, now the Israeli military intelligence is changing its estimation and is saying that the war with Syria is probable, it might happen, and the probability is not low as it was before the war in Lebanon.
Now we can ask ourselves, and we can of course ask analysts in this field, when this war could happen.
This war can happen any time, because you don't need the whole war. It's enough for a small military operation to change the status quo, and maybe this is what Assad wants. It's like in 1973 when in Yom Kippur War, when President Sadat wanted to change the status quo. He knew that he cannot occupy the whole of Sinai and return the whole of Sinai to Egypt, but he said that it's enough that I will make a limited military operation. I will cross the Suez Canal and catch or occupy some territories in Sinai. This will be enough to create a momentum that will change the status quo. Maybe this is what Assad wants. He wants to make a small operation, military operation.
What do you mean by small? Let's try to explain it with numbers.
There are many scenarios which is possible. Many scenarios are possible.
For example?
For example, occupying mountain of the Hermon, the mountain of Hermon.
How many forces does he need?
You don't need a lot for this. You need a few battalions, and you can do it with helicopters. The possibility of resuming terrorism in the Golan Heights. You know, the Golan Heights have been very quiet. There's no terrorist activity there, but he might bring terrorists into the Syrian area there and make infiltration into the Golan Heights. There are many ways to do it. Maybe he's planning this thing, but the declaration of Assad are very alarming, because this is the first time that he's talking about the possibility of using force to what he calls liberate the Golan Heights.
Do you believe, Yoni, that this new policy declared by President Bashar Assad is also involving Iran and Hezbollah?
I'm sure that he is coordinated with the Iranians. There is a full coordination to know. We call it the axis, the axis of evil. Yeah. Iran, Syria, and Hezbollah. So these all things are connected, and the timing together with from Iran and Hezbollah and Syria. They are working in full cooperation, and it's not something of coincidence that Assad makes these declarations.
What Israel should do now in order to be prepared for such a war with Syria?
What we have to do, and this is a very clear result of the Lebanese war, is to rebuild the Israeli army very quickly.
Do we have time?
Yes, we have time to do that. We have to start as soon as possible and make sure that we are rebuilding the Israeli military again. We have to train the reserve units. We have to start a program of training. We have to give them the right weapons, and we have to start the preparations for a war. Because the next round will come. It might be, now it looks maybe that Hezbollah is not going to go into another campaign with Israel, military campaign, not in the coming months, but it might happen in a year, it might happen in 2 years. We have to start preparing and rebuilding the Israeli army.
What could be the price of such a war with Syria for Israel?
Look, it is almost sure that if there will be a war with Syria, the Syrians will not be alone in the war. They might get support from the Hezbollah, from Katyusha rockets on Israel again. They might get support from Iran. And the Iranians said it before, that if Israel will engage in a war with Syria, they will help the Syrians. And the Iranians, as you know, they have long-range missiles. That means that Israel will be under attack of long-range missiles from Iran, Katyushas from Hezbollah, and also missiles from Syria. This is can be a very dangerous war for Israel, but I think the Israeli army is prepared for such a war, in the sense that fighting the Syrian army is different than fighting the Hezbollah. This is a regular army, and Israel is trained to fight against military power like this. But still, we have to take and implement all what is needed to be implemented as a result from the Lebanese war, and we have to prepare the military.
Just to conclude before Yom Kippur, I think that for the first time for many years, we have been threatened by the Palestinians, Hamas in the south, by Hezbollah in the north, by Syria, by Iran. We have still 3 soldiers kidnapped, 1 by Hamas, 2 by Hezbollah. It seems that the security situation is not very good.
There is no doubt that as a result of what happened from 2000, Israel lost its deterrence, the power of deterrence. The power of deterrence among the Arabs is going lower and lower, decreasing. The Arabs have the feeling that Israel became more weak, and that it's only a matter of time until they can occupy Israel and Israel will surrender to them. This is the feeling that they have. It's not necessarily true. Maybe the Israelis made some mistakes, but in order to gain back the power of deterrence, the Israeli army has to rebuild itself, and in the next round, if Israel will be more prepared, I'm sure that those who want to destroy Israel will have to give up their dreams and be realistic and know that the only way is the way of peace and not the way of war.
Yoni, I will thank you very much for this analysis.
Thank you.
And we'll meet again very soon, I hope.
גמר חתימה טובה.
גמר חתימה טובה.